young voters, Generation Z, millennials, the sheer power that they have, and Generation Z. And so I was at an event last night at a church, and Reverend Jesse Jackson was there along with his son and other political leaders, Congress people, and others. And they're moving around the country trying to mobilize and get young people to vote. And so when they told us to raise our hands. Those 80 and older, raise your hand. There was one person, 80. 70s, raise your hands. 60s, raise your hands. 50-year-olds, raise your hands. 40-year-olds, raise your hands. They got down to 20 and 30-year-olds. And I looked around, there was only one person 20 years old at the event, and there were a couple 30-year-olds. So it made me stop and think and ponder. This is clearly a missed opportunity, but I think that's the main reason why so much attention, Calvin and others, is being paid now to the young vote. Younger voters had a broad, decisive impact on the 2020 presidential elections and congressional elections in 2018 and 2022, according to research released by Berkeley Institute for Young Americans. Now, with the 2024 presidential election just months away, the Institute's analysis raises concerns about possibly low turnout among young voters in November. Two new studies offer a deeply detailed look at the social values and political behaviors of voters ages 18 to 43 and jarring insights into their generational beliefs. Some findings diverge sharply from prevailing stereotypes about the political behavior of young voters. Surprisingly, the Institute reports the values of Generation Z and millennial voters across the political spectrum are converging towards agreement on key issues. But the researchers found a substantial generation gap in American politics. Both young liberals and young conservatives want effective government action to solve challenges, while their parents and grandparents have been in conflict for a half century over the role of government. So, Calvin, you see, that's where we are now. The conflict between your grandparents, your parents, those are my generations, totally divided on whether somebody's a Democrat or a Republican. And it doesn't seem to be addressing. That is why we talk about there needs to be a change in the way government is run, because it's not addressing the issues of your generation.
Yeah, I guess I completely agree. I would disagree with the article a little bit to an extent. That's when it says that young conservatives want effective government. In my opinion, young people have divided into three groups. There's the liberal camp, there's the disaffected group that they just don't care, and then there's just the typical group that's captured by MAGA, just like the older folks. There's definitely a population of young people who are within Donald Trump's cult.
I would say, Calvin, that's a much smaller group than the young group who right now has come on board with Kamala Harris.